All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is another in my philosophical questions series. The question today is technology making us more polarized or more open in our opinions? And I am going to have a drink, and I'm going to answer that. The reason I am having a drink is because I am a food blogger. I purchased this alcohol and this soda for a blog, and I am going to consume them eventually. So in order to consume them in a timely manner without over consuming, I use them in these videos. This is, of course, Stars and Stripes Fruit Punch. It's a discount flavor, and I am pairing it with Double Cross vodka. So yes, does technology make us more polarized or more open in our opinions? As with all situations, we are now able to see both sides of this equation. On the one hand, people are posting more and more of their opinions, and their opinions are becoming more polarized. It is a current fact in the modern world that we are becoming more polarized as a people. Right? We are now getting our news through a different means of technology, as opposed to reading a newspaper, which, newspapers were always more polarized. They did tend to cater to demographics. But the modern world, it's like, if somebody believes something, somebody can share something. Somebody sharing something makes more people see the something and possibly believe the something. So the truth is that there is a correlation between our technological use and our polarization, implying that we are becoming more polarized. This is a relation, not a correlation. We know that these two things are happening together, but we don't know if they're happening because of each other. All right? That's one of those things. I mean, my cousin is a Trump supporter. And, no matter what Trump does, she's always going to be behind Trump, even if she's not behind what he does. She's what we refer to as extremely polarized. Myself, I was very staunch Bernie Sanders until the October 7th attack, and he began asking Israel to stop their war without retrieving the hostages. To me, this is absolute insanity. You could say, you need to moderate civilian casualties better. Yes, Israel agrees with you. You could say, you need to provide more aid to innocent civilians. I'm for that. I am not for stopping any war until the hostages are returned, and I believe that, it should be all hands on deck, full force forward. I don't argue. I cannot argue with that. This is how the world works. It's like, yes, with the Hatfields and the McCoys, the famous feud where both families were destroyed. It's like one man was killed by four men, and they said, well, you four are responsible for the death of my brother, or my son, or whatever it is, so I'm going to kill all four of you. Then the other family comes back and says, well, you killed four of us. It's like, yeah, but in this case, it's like, yes, turn over the responsible people, return the hostages, stay on your side of the line, and we won't have a problem. I'm against Sanders because of that, because of his opinions. I'm very wary of anything he says, all right? I was 100% behind Barack Obama until the Flint, Michigan thing, and it's like, I just don't feel he did enough. It's like the citizens of Flint, Michigan are Americans. I don't care what color their skin is. What I care about is that they're Americans, and that they're people, and that they're human, and that they're being poisoned. I believe John Oliver said it best, and I am paraphrasing here. He says, "We don't give children poison because it's poison and they're children." So very, very staunch about that. So yeah, I'm critical of Obama, but there's some people that no matter what happens, Obama's their man. He can do no wrong in their eyes. He's religious leader. They are polarized. This is why we make jokes about Trump being Orange Jesus. This does not pair well. Vodka and fruit punch. I'm going to have to say that fruit punch is probably more of a rum pairing. But also you see a higher rise in conspiracy theorists because there's more information out there for conspiracy theorists to chew on. The flat earthers, for example, it's ridiculous. We know the earth isn't flat. We've known this for a very long time. It was not proved by Columbus. It was a well-known fact long before then. But people were like, they didn't know that the continent of America existed. North and South America. So that's why Columbus, they said, well, he discovered it. Well, he discovered it for that time and part in society. They say that other people from Europe were there first, but it just wasn't wide information. So to the Europeans, the Americas were lost. We will say that. They were lost and forgotten. But now in the modern day, we are very critical of Columbus, and we're very polarized on the topic. We once thought of him as a hero, and now we often think of him as a monster. And, one of the arguments against that was the person who said all these terrible things of Columbus was one of Columbus's rivals. And he wanted to smear him. He wanted to damage his legacy. And, the truth is still hard to discern. But we, as human beings, are becoming more and more tribalistic. So you have to say that technology is polarizing because it pushes the tribalism. I can now connect with my tribe, the Hebrew, from across the world. I don't need Hebrew friends to do it. I could actually become extremely staunchly Hebrew without even ever meeting another Hebrew. It's very possible. But do understand that before technology, we were exclusively tribalistic. In the time when our technology was a club, a stick that you picked up, what you did is you went to the neighboring guy's tribe, you murdered him, stole his food and his women, and, you came back to your tribe. And as we progressed as a society, we got better at doing that. The Romans were really good at going to a neighboring tribe, murdering them, stealing their food, taking their people as slaves. That was tribalism. You might even say that the height of Rome was the height of human tribalism because, a Roman citizen could say nothing more than, I am a Roman citizen, and they knew that it didn't matter if they got caught or not. Rome would come in, butcher the entire town, just to tell people, don't mess with Rome. So yes, and Rome was a height in technology. The Dark Ages was still very tribal, but that's what came after Rome. And that was the thing. So, one of the things you have to understand is technology doesn't seem to really impact our tribalism, our polarosity. What does impact our polar nature is the idea of sharing information. Ignorance should be, and in most cases is, the root of polarization. If we understand our fellow humans, we humanize them. You know, in movies, we only care about the named characters that get killed. Random people on the street are random people on the street, and their deaths have little meaning. But if you know a character's name, their death has greater meaning to you. The more you are invested emotionally in a character, the more you want them to survive. Okay. You know, that's one of those things about how we humans work. That's one of the ways we used to cope with the world. That, you know, someone from our tribe who we know, we want to keep them alive. Someone from the other tribe, we don't care if we kill them. That's how we survive, how we defend ourselves. One of the weapons we use in war is to dehumanize our enemy. So in a world where technology helps us share information, it can depolarize us. But it's just the human nature of polarization that remains strong. So I don't know. I don't think technology does either. I think it can do either. What polarizes human beings tends to be stress. The more stressed you are, the more you find someone to blame, and the easier it is to blame the others, the people around you. And when you blame them, you tend to hurt them. And the more you hurt them, the more they hate you. And the more they hate you, the more polarized they become. Polarization begets polarization as violence begets violence. So, is technology to blame? No, it's not. Humans have been polarized forever. Is it making us more polarized? Probably not. But what we always have to remember, what we always have to do, what we always have to deal with, is the fact that we as humans are flawed creatures. Technology will not change that. We can only look into ourselves and try to be better in and of ourselves. Anyway, my thoughts on the matter. I'm Richard.
Background courtesy of Photographs of a Mad Richard. Link in the description.
Who should be commenting, liking, and subscribing? You should be commenting, liking, and subscribing. Danger Ducky says, if not you, then who?